What's going on, everybody? Just in case you missed the PWR show this past Monday night, I'm going to cover a few things that we talked about. Of course, check out the Pro Wrestling Report by going to pwrshow.com or espnmilwaukee.com. Monday night, 10 p.m. Central Standard Time, right after Raw. Of course, Bill and Doug Uncut segment usually starts around 11 p.m. Central Standard Time. One thing that we did talk about is TNA and their current direction, where they're headed. Personally, I was very disappointed with Destination X. I went over that a couple of weeks ago on the PWR show. And the reason I was disappointed is because I felt like there were some potentially very good matches on that card, and that is why I gave it a shot. And because TNA has really delivered on pay-per-view fairly well this year thus far. Against All Odds was not all that, but the first pay-per-view this year, Genesis, was. I really enjoyed it. So I decided to give it a shot, and I was very disappointed. I was disappointed because I felt like there was just too many people on the card. I understand that they're trying to make their talent happy as well as trying to make their fans happy, and that is why we got what we got, unfortunately. But sometimes I feel the best philosophy is, sometimes it doesn't hurt a performer to have them sit out for a month, at least on pay-per-view. You can still use them on Impact tapings, but I don't think every talent needs to be on every pay-per-view. And I think that's what makes them stale, especially when you put an Eric Young and a Brutus Magnus or whatever his name is on the show when it wasn't advertised, when you already had 8 matches. And then on top of that, you had the Sheikh Abdul Bashir segment, so you've got 8 matches and about a 9 to 10 minute promo. And that really cuts down on your match time, which makes your matches not pay-per-view quality. And this is just my concern as a wrestling fan. I don't think you need to put every guy on pay-per-view. But overall, I thought some of the matches had the potential to be pay-per-view quality, but just couldn't get there because you didn't have enough time. I thought Ultimate X was pay-per-view quality. Abyss and Matt Morgan, I also thought that the finish was awesome, but it's kind of what people expected in a 10,000 thumbtacks match. You knew someone was going to go through 10,000 thumbtacks. Sometimes it's better left unsaid. In other words, have an ODQ match, bring out the 10,000 thumbtacks and put somebody through them. It's better left unsaid at certain points, and also I think that it has been overdone, overkill with the Abyss character. But I thought AJ Styles and Booker T was good. I thought Beer Money and Team 3D was pretty good. There were some good matches on the card, but like I said, didn't do a lot for me because they didn't have enough time to really go out there and give a pay-per-view quality match. Sting and Angle, you can call it your money match if you want to. There was some decent build on Impact for the match, but it did not deliver. And when you don't deliver and you're getting record ratings, that could be a problem if new viewers bought your pay-per-view. Especially with, I didn't think it really left a good lasting impression. That's not what TNA is all about, And I think that's what gets me more upset than anything, and what people really have to understand is when the WWE doesn't deliver, now I just go, whatever, that's kind of what they usually do. They usually don't deliver. It doesn't bother me any. It's not going to hurt my feelings. When TNA doesn't deliver, man, I have an investment in that company. I feel like each person in the locker room, each person helped put together that show. They feel like family to me, regardless of how close I was with anybody. I wasn't close with anybody in the locker room. I didn't know anybody in the locker room, but I have an investment in the company because I believe in the company and I believe that they care about the wrestling fan. And that's what's important to me. They care about the consumer, And I feel like TNA does. And I feel like TNA Impact this last Thursday night was a step in the right direction, in a much-needed direction for TNA. They started off with the Main Event Mafia segment. I think there's too many Main Event Mafia segments, though, on Impact. I think you need to spend more of your segments showcasing guys that the fans are not familiar with. maybe promo packages, maybe an in-ring promo, let's put some advertising on it, whatever you got to do to get the young guys over. Because I think you spend too much television time building up the guys that are already established names. But regardless, you start off with the Main Event Mafia promo. You announce the main event, which was Sting and Angle versus Jarrett and Foley. And you built that main event throughout the night and delivered a main event. TNA got its highest rating ever. You know, I think sometimes it just comes back to that simple formula. And as long as TNA follows that, I think they're going to be successful. And this week, matter of fact, in a few hours, we've got a preview, 6 Sides of Steel, for the team captains for Lethal Lockdown at TNA Lockdown in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Another thing that I want to point out that we didn't point out on the PWR show is Eric Young and Danny Bonaducci. Not real high on Danny Bonaducci coming into TNA Wrestling, but I enjoyed and found the segment entertaining that they did on TNAWrestling.com and on Danny Bonaducci's radio show, where he had Eric Young on. And Eric Young said that after being in the business for 12 years, that he thinks it's an insult to have to wrestle a D-list celebrity that gets over on being crazy. And I thought that was fantastic because that's exactly how I feel. He has no business being in that ring. And I think that it hurts the credibility of the pay-per-view. But when you think about it, if Danny Bonaducci's from Philadelphia, people might get interested in that. And they might buy tickets to the pay-per-view for that. I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be like that because you've got Sting and Mick Foley in the main event, which I think the promos are going to be fantastic for. And I think they're going to be able to deliver a pretty good match. Why? Because it's in 6 Sides of Steel. Mick Foley is a hardcore bumper. He always has been, and he always will be. He's a complete maniac in that ring. So I expect them to have a pretty decent match with fantastic build-up. And of course, you've got Mick Foley, who the diehards I feel still care about, and the casual fans love to death. Sting, casual fans love Sting to death. Diehards, I feel, still care about him as well. So I think that will definitely sell tickets. I also think that Team 3D and Beer Money will sell tickets given the finish of the Destination X pay-per-view and also the fact that Team 3D is going back to their stomping grounds in Philly. So, you know, that could be a big factor. Also, you've got the Motor City Machine Guns probably taking on No Limit. The only gripe I have with all of that is the fact that there's way too many tag team belts on TNA television. You don't need the IWGP Junior Heavyweight titles. You don't need the IWGP Heavyweight tag titles. You don't need the TNA tag titles all together on one show. You know, if anything, since Alex Shelley lost the X Division title at Destination X and the Ultimate X, you should not have him come out with the IWGP Junior Heavyweight titles. I think it's stupid. But whatever. You know, either way, Motor City Machine Guns No Limit is going to be an entertaining match. On top of that, you're probably going to have your X Division Escape match. So I feel like this card is really going to have something for everyone, and I think that will reflect in the buy rate, and I think it will reflect in the attendance. As far as what the WWE did this week, real high on the Randy Orton Triple H stuff. Real high on it. This feud, to me, was losing some steam over the past couple of weeks because I felt like they did all that they could do. But of course, Randy Orton being the diabolical heel that he is, DDTing Stephanie in the ring and then giving her a little mouth-to-mouth in front of Triple H while he was handcuffed to the ropes was beautiful. It was genius and a great way to market their match coming up in just a little over a week. Also, one thing that I just cannot stand right now and that just eats me up inside is the fact that Chris Jericho is facing 3 guys all over the age of 50 at WrestleMania. Chris Jericho main evented WrestleMania 18 against Triple H as the champion. Chris Jericho had the match of the night at WrestleMania 19 against Shawn Michaels. Chris Jericho faced Christian at WrestleMania 20 in a pretty intriguing feud and had a good match. Also, the last couple of years, he has been in Money in the Bank matches. So now, what do? You put him in there with 3 legends that are all over the age of 50 who are going to hit all their finishers on Chris Jericho, I'm calling this right now, and humiliate him at WrestleMania for a small pop. Okay? But my thing is why are you going to bank on having Mickey Rourke and Chris Jericho at WrestleMania when nothing has been set in stone, nothing has been signed, nothing has really been agreed upon? There might have been a verbal agreement, but that's about it. So they went, okay, well, let's just go ahead and go with the storyline. And then once Mickey Rourke backed out and probably just said, well, I'm just going to show up, he'll probably be involved in the finish somehow, probably deck Jericho, and then that will lead to all 3 legends hitting the finishers on Jericho and leaving him lying in the middle of the ring. My problem with this is if you didn't have a game plan, you weren't for sure, why would you go ahead with it in the first place and waste a great talent like Chris Jericho? This is pathetic and unacceptable. This is the reason I stopped watching the WWE in the first place, was because of stupid crap like this. But don't even get me started on it. I could go on all day about it. Other than that, the John Cena, Big Show, and Edge stuff, do we really have to see more of this? This is horrible. So what do? John Cena and Edge have had every type of match you can possibly have. So you throw Big Show in there, and you make it all about the love for Vicky. Okay, first you already have someone's wife involved in the Randy Orton and Triple H storyline, so why are you going to bring Edge's on-air wife into the storyline as well? I just think it's stupid. You've already got one storyline that's focused around someone's wife. Why are you going to have the other main event focused around the exact same thing? I just think it is absolutely idiotic, and I turn the show off when that stuff is on TV. I can't stand to watch it. I can't sit through it. I can't stomach it. But on the bright side, WrestleMania coming up, okay? 4 matches that I am looking forward to right off the bat. First, Shawn Michaels and Undertaker. It's going to be an epic match. I can promise you that. Shawn Michaels refuses to have a bad match at WrestleMania. The Undertaker refuses to have a bad match at WrestleMania. And those guys will tear the house down. I feel like that will be the most memorable moment for me on that show. Randy Orton Triple H has fantastic hype, and I feel like those guys will definitely deliver in the ring. Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy in Extreme Rules, they've had some pretty strong build-up, and I expect them to have a crazy match at WrestleMania. God knows what those guys are going to put themselves through in just a little over a week. And then, of course, last but not least, trying to think of the 4th match that I was looking forward to here. I just lost my train of thought. Got Randy Orton, Triple H. Got Shawn Michaels and Taker. You got Money in the Bank, and then, Money in the Bank. I think that's the one I was missing. But yeah, Money in the Bank, of course. Going to be a lot of crazy stuff going on in that match. Interested to see who is going to walk out. I'll be rooting for Christian. You can guarantee that. The instant classic, Captain Charisma, who is pretty much getting crapped on ever since he came back. Although Vince is kind of a smart businessman, and that's exactly why he's doing it. He doesn't want to make any talent from TNA that comes over look better than his own talent. And I think TNA should practice that somewhat. I don't think, at the same point, I think Vince is missing the boat on Christian, because people still kind of have an idea that he was in TNA, but they're not using Christian's momentum or any momentum that he had coming to the WWE and trying to make money off of it. They're not trying to make money with him and Edge and Jeff Hardy and trying to reunite those guys. No, it's not happening. So, I really think they dropped the ball by putting him on ECW, but that's a whole other thing that I could go on about all day. But otherwise, week and a half away. I'm looking forward to it. Ring of Honor, Friday night, after the Booker T Legends of Wrestling Fanfest. So if anybody's in the Houston area, definitely check out Booker T's Fanfest. It's also at the George R. Brown Convention Center from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. Going to be a lot of people on hand. Samoa Joe, Team 3D, Sting, Lita, They've got a bunch of people. Jake Roberts. I mean, there's a long list of names that will be on hand to sign autographs and take pictures. Of course, Booker T himself. And all of the money is going towards a charitable foundation in Houston, the Booker T sponsors. So it's going to a good cause, and a lot of people are donating their appearance fees. Don't want to forget Kevin Nash either. Kevin Nash is going to be there. A lot of those guys are taking the appearance fees that they charge, and they're putting it back into Booker's charity. So it's very important, and I'm definitely put some money towards that because it's going to a good cause. So Booker T Friday afternoon, Ring of Honor, Super Card of Honor. Friday evening, Ring of Honor pay-per-view. Saturday afternoon, Hall of Fame. Saturday evening, WrestleMania. I think we're going to go to Fan Access on Sunday morning and meet Chris Jericho. And then Sunday evening, WrestleMania. Going to be a crazy weekend, the craziest weekend I've ever had as a wrestling fan. I can't wait. I'm definitely looking forward to it. But definitely check out the PWR show this Monday night. Remember, pwrshow.com, ESPNMilwaukee.com. Check us out. And that's about all for now. See you guys later.